in February, Eugene co-sponsored and had passed the Support Military Families Act, which granted an exemption for military spouses to the return to in-person work order for federal employees. He recently sent a letter to Veterans Affairs Secretary Doug Collins about the critical lack of staffing at the recently opened Veterans Center in Fredericksburg. On April 8th, he introduced the Unplugged Act as a first step in restoring quality education by requiring phone-free classrooms across the country. Yes. I thank him for holding a town hall in Culpeper on Wednesday, and I look forward to him grilling Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth in a few weeks during his appearance at the House Armed Services Committee. Please welcome our Congressman, Eugene.
Thank you so much, Annette. First of all, we're clean on OPSEC, so that was a joke for the Pete Hegseth fans. So, I am not running for election this year, so I'm just happy to celebrate democracy dinner with you all here in Madison County. It's been an exciting 4 months. I've got a lot to learn as a politician with only 4 months experience, but I'll tell you, my 25 years of experience in the Army has prepared me for a fight, and that's exactly what we need right now. So the first thing I will say is there's no substitution for victory, right? We've learned that after the 2024 election, if that wasn't already clear. And that's why we have to make sure that we win in 2026. The Virginia elections, obviously the most consequential election this year. New Jersey's got something going on. I'm not worried about New Jersey. Virginia is absolutely critical. A few weeks ago, there were elections in Florida and Wisconsin that sort of foretold what the future potentially has in store. A great victory in the Supreme Court of Wisconsin, a cutting of the margin in half in Florida, right? Those are all strong indicators of where this country is headed. We saw, how many of you were at the town hall earlier this week? So a good number of folks were at the town hall. You know, the predominant emotion there was certainly concern and even anger. And I'm seeing that across the 7th District and around the country. And that anger is squarely focused on the administration and the Republican Party right now. The next election in November, so less than, around 6 months, is not that far off. And we have an opportunity to send a message to the entire country about what to anticipate in 2026. By building a huge margin in the House of Delegates and the Senate, by electing Sarah, to build that margin, to build that Democratic cushion, to bring a Democratic governor in Abigail Spanberger, who I'm a huge fan of, and a Democratic LG Attorney General. I'll tell you, one of the things that is most frustrating for me as a member of Congress right now is that I've got great relationships with huge swaths of the district. We're working well where we have Democratic representatives, and I'm looking for more opportunities to be able to work with local officials. But there's this vacuum at the state level. And I liken the administration here to something between a possum and roadkill. Because that's exactly what it is. In the face of an onslaught against Virginians, against the federal workforce, that's 55,000. It's about 12% of the district is federal civil servants. Another 6% are contractors that are dependent on those jobs. We have, worse than silence, we have advice to go to Indeed or updated resume. And that is not leadership, that is not compassion. And we get to change that in less than 6 months. So we need to win here because we did our job in Virginia in November. We really did. But we need to export that around the country. And James Carville came and spoke to the Democratic caucus just a few short weeks ago. We all got together. There were 100 or so of us in the room, and it was several days where we got to listen to some fantastic National Democrats, Gretchen Whitmer, Governor Shapiro, Governor Beshear, some real potential for 2028. But Carville was talking about, regardless of what you think about the Raging Cajun, was talking about the message that's going to come, be sent in November. And, Abigail's a strong candidate under any year. But I think this year in particular against Winsome Sears, who's an extremist, we have the potential to really take Virginia off the map as a purple state. I'd love to see her get into double digits and really propel us into 2026. Just before coming out today, I was, and I don't do this very often these days for my sanity, but I did turn on CNN, and Harry Engine was on, and he was his energetic self, and he was talking about the swing from generic Democrats to +2 Republicans right at the time of inauguration to +4 Democrats. The last time that happened, the average pickup was 35 seats. We only need 4 to take back the House.
Wow.
If we take back the House, we could put some controls on this president. Not only do we have the gavel where we have oversight, so Pete Hegseth is coming in a few weeks, and I am looking forward to the opportunity to testify. But I love the idea, I love the opportunity to just continuously subpoena administration officials and follow up on these horrendous operational security lapses that we're seeing, and attacks on earned benefits like Social Security, Medicare, and critical programs that support Virginians. If we can win big, if we can win back the House next year, we're going to put some controls on. Yeah. We have some tough times. I don't think anybody is under any illusion that the president right now, this is about the most lawless regime this country has ever seen. And so it's kind of an odd position I find myself in. 4 months of experience, whether you've had 40 years or 30 years of experience on Capitol Hill or 4 months, we all have the same amount of experience in dealing with a lawless president. Yes. This is really the first time that's happened. And so these elections that are coming up, and electing Sarah and Abigail and the Democratic LG and Attorney General that will join in on lawsuits against the administration, absolutely critical. To get us to that point, we need to sustain the energy that we saw just a few days ago at the town hall, the energy that is in this room right now, because we have a strong community. If you think about the fundamentals have not changed for the 7th Congressional District. Still a great place to raise a family, still has just enormous human capital. I've been around the district quite a bit. Earlier today, I was at Senator Warner's Academy Day event, and it was an auditorium at Mary Washington that was filled with young folks that want to serve this country. And it was just amazing to see. Some had like spreadsheets about all the things they needed to do in order to get to the academy. It was, that level of motivation is fantastic. Earlier this week, one of the great parts of this job, I got to call a high school student in Stafford County that was accepted to the Air Force Academy. And I could tell over the phone how excited he was. And I think his mom was even more excited. But, you have that kind of potential in human capital. Our educational institutions, and I'll take some credit for George Mason, even though it's in Prince William County, it's slightly on the other side, but we have satellite campus. We have a ton of students that go there, Mary Washington, Germanna, and Nova. We have great educational institutions. And so that potential, that capital is still there. What we have to do in the course of the next 6 months, certainly until the elections this year, and then 18 or so months until the election is 2026, and frankly, for the better part of the next 4 years, is come together as a community stronger, bring in those folks that were led astray, bamboozled, that voted for the president, and then frankly got more than they bargained for. Yep. That's the sense around the country right now, and it's only growing. You know, 5 million folks that were protesting last week is a great start. But we need about, once you get to about 3.5%, statistically speaking, it becomes like a cultural phenomenon. And so we need to get almost double that. And we're not even at 100 days. We got a lot of people that are angry. So I feel, at the same time, I feel like we have dark days ahead. I also feel some optimism with the mobilization of the population, with the work that we're doing on Capitol Hill, staying united as Democrats, voting, even though losing quite often, because you know it's tough to be in the minority. We did have one win in a vote. That's a good start. And then what's going on in the courts? The courts are actually, for the most part, doing their job, and they're upholding this fundamental principle of due process. That's everybody in this country is entitled to their day in court to be heard. And so between all those things, we're going to weather this. We're going to come out stronger on the back end, but we only do that by sticking together as a community and making sure we elect Sarah, we elect Abigail, and Democratic LG and Attorney General. So thank you for allowing me to